basically we are going to talk about the developer student clubs. Since this is the very first session, we will be introducing the club orientation definitely, and then we will be moving on to kickstart competitive programming with Aarnav. Aarnav will be joining us shortly later. So these are the two things that we will be discussing today. And moving on, we have so these are some of the rules that I would really like to stress upon before we start anything. Please keep yourself at mute at all times. Use chat box. If you have any questions, do not worry. We will cover all of them at the end of the session. We will have a Q&A session, so it's completely fine if you are gonna, if you can just be patient. And if you're having any issues, if you're not able to hear us, or if you're not able to see the video, then you can let us know. Okay, and before we begin, first of all, I understand that this experience, this virtual experience, is very hard for all of us. I understand that. The events that we used to hold in person was different, right? And I understand that this setting is completely different. So we understand that, and we hope that you interact with us, you follow with us to get the best out of this experience. We promise that we won't disappoint you, and you will get out of this session learning something new, be it competitive programming, and other than this, as about this new domain that we are bragging about on our Instagram, right? And if you feel like, if you're like, you are one of those introverts, like sometimes I feel like I'm an introvert and I don't feel like that I should write my question in the chat box in front of everyone, right? So what you can do is you can email your question or anything that you're having doubt with, even a slight doubt. We'll check it out directly and we will try our best to answer your queries. Now, flow of the session. So how this session will go is, first we will talk about all things about DSC MRIIRS, since this is the introductory session as I talked about, so we're not going to go into much of technical details, but we will try to show you a glimpse of those technical details. Then we will move on to sneak peek into web development. So this is the domain that we chose to give you just a sneak peek about how things are going to work. And Pranav here, the development team head, will show you a website. He will create a website live in front of you. It will be like a hands-on thing. So yeah, that's going to be a lot of fun. And then moving on, we will be introducing a new domain. New domain means a completely new career track. And I promise you that if you go out of this session, if you'll hang with us, and if you'll go out and then whenever you heard about this track, you will be able to at least give out the basic details about it. And then after this, Aarnav will be joining us finally to, I know that you are all waiting patiently for Aarnav to join in. He will be joining us at 1 p.m. and he will be starting the competitive programming. And yeah, basics of competitive programming, if I shall stress upon that, and answering all your queries if you have one. And then we will move on to a Q&A. So this is the time where you definitely want to be kind of alert and want to ask all your queries away. Please don't be hesitated to ask any questions if you have any of them. And then at the last, we have a very beautiful surprise for you. For the first time in DSC, we are bringing this mentorship program, and where we want to talk about it, and we want to wrap up the session with this. So this is the kind of flow of session. And moving on, we have, let's start all things about DSC MRIIRS. So as you know that it is a coding club, right? We are a club of university students. We are all university students here. There is one lead. We are powered by Google developers. And we are currently, we all are very passionate about technology, and we have done some work in our field that we can share our experience with you. So anyone who is interested in joining DSC MRIIRS just needs a passion for technology, just needs that enthusiasm to be different than other people. Now, by joining, why should you join DSC? I understand that it is an important question. So by joining a DSC, students grow their knowledge in a peer-to-peer learning environment. By that, I mean you can be connected with like-minded people, and that motivates you, that inspires you to get out of that comfort zone that we are given, right? And during this time, it is very necessary. Everything is going virtual, and we are losing the grip of reality. So that is why it is very, very much important for all of us to be involved in a community. And Developer Student Clubs is that community for anyone who is interested in joining. And moving on, we have, when we talk about the importance of Developer Student Clubs, so this is what I stress upon. We are open to everyone from any background. You don't have to be a computer science major to join Developer Student Clubs, right? You can be from mechanical, you can be pursuing law, and you can still be joining us. You can have any level of education from undergraduate to graduate. And if you feel like, I don't know enough, can I be joining DSC? Well, yes, you can join DSC. It's completely fine. We are here to train you. We are here to mentor you. We have guidance from Google, and we have mentors at Google who are guiding us throughout our journey. Now, moving on, looking at the next aspect of our session of our club, which is our mission. Why do we exist? So as we talked earlier, we are here to build that gap between theory and practice. I don't know about you, but coming from a tier 3 university, I understand that I cannot rely on my college to get me a placement or to get me a master's degree. I just cannot do that. I cannot afford that. If I want something different, if I want to compete with those students who are working tirelessly in tier 1 university and who have these opportunities coming at their campus, then I have to be involved. I have to put in some effort. And Developer Student Clubs gives you that platform to put in effort, to make you able to give that, to enable you with tools to power your journey. And other than this, so during this COVID-19 thing, whatever has happened, one thing is we realized is that the role of technology in each aspects of our life, right? If in this day and time, if you are not literate, if you're not able to computer science literate, if you don't know the basics of computer science, you are no good to anyone, no matter which field are you from. You're from mechanical, civil, or whatever field you are from. You need to have you need to be a computer science literate. This is going to be the future. This is the future requirement of the jobs and corporate office and anything that you want to be in. And next we have at DSC MRIIRS. So what do we offer? Now you may ask, okay, Nishtha, you talked so much about these opportunities and what club is, what is our mission, what do you do? Well, at DSC MRIIRS, you can learn a latest technology. You can make projects. So yes, you can make projects in teams or alone, and you don't have to be a master in the technology in which you're making a project. You could be like a beginner, and we will guide you throughout your journey to complete your project. Now participate in contests. So Google especially offers a lot of Google Build Challenge and a lot of hackathons in which you have the platform to showcase your skills, right? So you can participate in contests and we will guide you. Now find like-minded people. This is, I guess, one of the most important things that even I struggle with. I come from a tier 3 university, but I'm very ambitious. I want to do great things in my life, but sometimes I feel like the peer group that I am in is not as motivated as me to do things. So at DSC MRIIRS, we choose nothing but the best, and we are the best. Now you receive guidance from professionals, you contribute to open source. So this is the future, definitely. Now again, moving on, we have opportunities at DSC. So networking, as I said, networking is very important for students like us, because most of the companies who do not arrive at our campus, we depend on referrals, right? So at DSC MRIIRS, you have that environment to create that, to create that opportunity for you to make those projects that can get you referral. We have a whole wide of network from around the globe. We are connected to every college that has DSC around the globe. So you have an ample amount of resources to connect to. Again, international competition. So as I mentioned, there are going to be a lot of international competition that you can be a part of as our team. And scholarships, we provide insights on scholarship, and we also help students get placed during internships. And as usual, like this webinar that we are hosting, we host exclusive webinars and workshop, and we promise you it's not going to be a lecture. And at any point, if you feel like it is, you can just text us and you can let us know. All right, moving on, we have domains we are going to. So DSC MRIIRS has this partition of domains that we focus on. We don't just go about one thing. We focus on different things. We make a team. We work on these things all together, right? So we have artificial intelligence, machine learning, we have web development, mobile app development, cyber security, competitive programming, and interview preparation. So these are the different domains that we offer. And if you have any interest in any of these domains, then you are more than welcome to join us and to work with us. Other than this, if we move on to the next slide, so as I said, if you're interested in any of the domains, so one of the things that I want to touch upon is at DSC MRIIRS, how does this work? Well, every year Google choose a DSC lead, which is responsible for leading the club. All right, and that lead chooses its core team member. Core team members are nothing but moderators between the community and the lead and Google. So if you are a part of our community, then you could be, you could get guidance from us, and you can just, it will be a smooth journey. That's what I promise. So if you're interested, we have 3 positions open. You can be a part of our community. If you are a beginner, we suggest you should be a part of our community, right? So that we can help you move up the ladder. And if you have intermediate knowledge, you're like, I'm over here, Nishtha, what should I do? Well, you can be a part, you can volunteer with us. All right, we will give you opportunities, and community is open for all. So this, let me just say one thing. And if you feel like you know one thing and you're very passionate about it and you can help others by your knowledge, then you can be a core team member. Now, core team member are, it is a very highly responsible opportunity and position, and we expect that the students who are core team member are willing to uplift the other students at the campus, right? So we have a core team right now and we are still recruiting. So moving on, if you look at it, so what I want to talk about is recruitment at DSC. So if you're interested in volunteering, in becoming a part of our community, or just be a just be a core team member, then you can join us at mriirsdsc@gmail.com. You can send us your cover letter. Now let me tell you how this recruitment is going to work. We're going to look at your cover letter, all right, and then we're going to send you a review of your cover letter, and then we're going to conduct an interview, and after that you are more than welcome to be a part of core team member. Other than this, guys, this is for all of you. The DSC community is open for all. You can text us, you can email us anytime regarding any of your projects, regarding any of your queries that you're facing. And now you must also be wondering that recruitment at DSC, well, that would also require me to learn to be a professional at artificial intelligence, machine learning, and web development. I should be this, I should be that. We are just not looking for technical people. We are looking for social media marketing managers. We are looking for content managers. We are looking for writers. So we have a varied interest. We have a varied interest of, we have a varied range of things that you can be a part of. So if you want to be a part of us, if you want to handle social media, if you're good at writing, you can even join core team as a writer, right? So these are the few things that I am focusing on. Now I am signing off for a little bit because Pranav will be showing you a sneak peek into web development. Thank you, guys. Pranav, are you here?
Hello guys. So today I am talking about web development. One second, let me share my screen. So today I am talking about web development. So web development, basically it is anything that you see on your website, like for example Facebook, Instagram, or anything else. So before we begin, let me tell you something about myself. Hi, I am Pranav. I am the development team head at DSC MRIIRS. These are few of my projects that I have made using web development, and these are few of my certificates. So you must be thinking that the web development is just about coding. We just have to code and that's all what web development is. So you are a little bit wrong. Web development is not just coding. It involves many more things. So what can we make with web development? Web development or basically development. In development, we can cover lots of desktop app, like for example Google Chrome or Firefox or anything that application you are using on your desktop. We can make many websites, like for example Facebook, that you must have been using previously, and many like Android apps, like for example Instagram and WhatsApp, that you use in your day-to-day life, and many more things we can make with the help of development. So who are interested towards the left side now and right side? So for all those who are at the left side into development, let me tell you more about development. So all those who are seeing that I'm talking about Facebook, Instagram seems big, right? So no problem. We'll start from basics. So let's make something live. So this is an ID VS Code. So first let's make an HTML page. We'll name it dsc.html. So in VS Code we have a small shortcut to add basic HTML things. Like most of you must be knowing about HTML. So like HTML head and tag, all that it's been added automatically. So now let's start making a website. First let's go live. Okay, so it's blank now. So let's first add an header. Here we say hello peeps. So now you can see here, if we reload, yeah, here it comes. So you are saying it's not that good, it's not styled, so we have to add some CSS to it. What CSS does is it gives style to your HTML websites. So I have already made some CSS, so we'll just include that. So first of all, we have just added that one header file. So now let's make a full completed website. I know it's a short session, so I can't show you the whole detail about that, and it's a very basic website. So first of all, this is our header, a navigation bar that you must have seen in many more websites. I'll show you the code once. So here's the code of navigation. It's just about 15 to 20 lines, and let's see what we got here. So here's a navigation bar, there is a search bar, we can search here, and now let's add something more to our website. So this is a hero part of our website, basically the entry part where we land. So let's add this to our website. So this is also not a big code, it's around 20 to 15 line, and HTML is not just code, it's just like basic writing on notepad and something if you get the syntax. We are going little basic here because it's just an intro session. So here's a hero part. Here you will see a photo. So you are seeing that in just matter of second we have made something like this. And in industry level also, they don't type HTML by themselves. There are many templates that I have used currently right now. So many people use these templates. It's not in industries as well. So I have made a footer, like an industry level footer that you must have seen in many websites, and it's animated, and like you see in just matter of seconds we have made such a beautiful website. One second. And here is a footer. There is an animation of a car and a bicycle. So you are seeing that in just matter of a minute we have made such a beautiful website, and you can add your creativity and can do many things in the web development. So we have made something live, and now I think some of you might be interested in web development. So here is a roadmap for web development. First you have to learn what is HTML, what is CSS, what is JavaScript, learn about them. Then you can shift towards the JavaScript framework. So JavaScript framework are like more advanced version of JavaScript. Like it's JavaScript, but you can use it efficiently. Like Facebook has introduced React, in which we can use JavaScript in an efficient manner, and Google made Angular, and there is a Vue.js. After learning all this thing, you will be good at the front end part of the website. So now you learn about backend. Node.js is also based on JavaScript. Node.js basically is used in backend for all the functionality part of your website, like managing the authentication that you log in on that, and then SQL and NoSQL databases. What these do, they store your data. Like for example, you have entered your username and password the first time you entered the website. Then the username and password are stored in these databases, and then you must learn about what are APIs. This is REST API and this is GraphQL API. So after learning about them, then you can shift towards the cloud-based thing like AWS and Firebase, and you can further proceed towards your web development path. So you can make something like this after completing that roadmap. This is a website made by one of us. It's not big that like Instagram, Facebook. It's a small website. You can make it in like a matter of 2 or 3 days. So what it does is, you can authenticate with it, make a username and password. You have your proper login and a rank, and you can add your photos and something to into it, and it will detect faces on it. So it's a basic website. You also can make them. So if you want any mentorship and any queries about web development, you can ask anytime at DSC MRIIRS, and we have some few openings as Insta told us. So any of you would love to join, they can join us. So in the end, you guys are amazing, and I hope you get some interest in web development and get to know about something. Thank you.
All right, Pranav, thank you so much for giving us just an insight, guys. Again, this was just an introduction, and since we are just starting out, so yeah, don't worry about if you did. I mean, I can understand that some of you are beginners, and if you didn't understand anything, I can completely understand your frustration with this. So don't worry, it's okay. It's just beginning phase. Now, coming to the next one. Now, I was introducing the new domain, but we're going to do that later because we have Aarnav here. Hi, Aarnav. How are you doing? Uh,
Hey, Nishta.
yeah, so we have Aarnav here, and we're going to start the Kickstart Competitive Programming. And so, yeah, Aarnav, floor will be all yours. Yeah, you can go ahead.
All right, cool. So, firstly, thanks, Nishta and the team here for inviting me. And it's always good to talk to people who are interested in competitive programming and want to learn more about it. So, guys, before starting, just
Aarnav,
yeah, Nishta, you were saying something?
oh, I felt like your voice is lagging. Now it's working. It's completely fine. Yeah, go ahead.
All right, cool. So, as I was saying, so before we start, I'd like to give a little bit of a context as to how I would prefer this session to be, and then we'll schedule the questions and the other things at the end of the first half. So initially, I'll begin with a simple 15 to 20 minutes brief on competitive programming, how to start, how to proceed, and how to maybe excel in competitive programming. And after that, I think we'll move on to the Q&A, wherein we can have some questions from the audience. All right, cool. So, guys, competitive programming. My first introduction to competitive programming itself was in the first year when so actually my background was non-tech. So, I mean, I started with in my 11th, I had non-med, and that too with economics. So, I did not have computer science like many people do when they start their college. Because of that, I thought I had a little bit of a disadvantage compared to my peers. So when I got into college, the first thing that I was told, so unlike like a lot of other people, I just picked computer science without knowing or thinking about it twice, because computer science is the hot field, hot domain. And that's where the jobs are. So I started out with computer science. I picked computer science directly, and then getting into the branch, the first thing that I was told was that to excel in this particular field, you can't just cram stuff. You need to know coding well so that you have a good job opportunity. So you have good job opportunities later on. So that's when I started coding. I went to this institute called Coding Blocks that I now had a long association with. It's a good place to start coding. So there, when I was doing my course of beginners C++ basic course, in that after maybe 2 to 3 months, I was introduced to competitive programming formally. That is when some people started talking about going to various platforms, like at that point of time, HackerRank, it was a good platform for that. Then CodeChef and other such platforms. So that's when I realized, okay, there's much more to coding than just basically writing a simple piece of code in a class full of people or sitting aside and writing your codes yourself. So that's a completely different ballgame. Competitive programming is something entirely different, something a little more exciting. I think it brings back the enthusiasm and the competitive spirit in coding. It makes it a lot more interesting than basically sitting around writing a few lines of code. And that is when I thought, okay, let's give it a try. I did not know the benefits of competitive programming back then, but I thought it's fun. It's a competitive sport. I loved sports, so I thought maybe I can give it a try. So that's when, after completing my questions, and therein I realized that this world of competitive programming is a lot different, and to excel in it or to achieve something in it, you need to put in a lot of effort. And that's when I thought, okay, if I'm putting some effort into something, there should be a reward. I can't put all my time into something that is just for joy. So I talked around, talked to a few people. Then I realized, and I did a little digging on the internet, and that's when I came across the fact that many companies, including Google and Facebook and Amazon and Microsoft also, they do prefer people who have a competitive programming background. There are competitions wherein if you take part in these competitive programming platforms, if you score a good rank, you have a chance of getting callback from recruiters to discuss possible job opportunities. And also, after you're done with competitive coding, your mindset is framed or is trained in such a way that you are trained to solve 2 to 3 questions in a given time frame with the least amount of mistakes possible. So, because that is the entire objective of competitive programming, you have to think of an approach from scratch, write the complete code, and there are 2 to 3 such questions, and then you're competing with a lot of other people for the jobs. That is somewhat, or I think to a major extent, similar to what or to how campus recruiting functions. So, I think that is a very good way to sort of train yourself in that domain, and to be ready before the actual placements happen, be it on campus or off campus. So that's why I think my interest beyond a sport increased in competitive programming. So now the question comes, what to do before competitive programming? Because a lot of people think they're not exactly sure when it is the right time to get into competitive programming. What should be the prerequisite? How much should we do, and then jump into it? So, guys, firstly, before getting into competitive programming, it's very, very important to have a good base in DSA. DSA being data structures and algorithms. So, your DSA needs to be strong, because when you get into competitive programming, therein you need to apply the DSA, bend it in such a way that you can solve the problem at hand. It is not like you have your basic input output tools, some knowledge about arrays or something, and then you will be able to solve questions. That's not how this works. You need to have a very good understanding of all the different data structures, at least the basic data structures. So maybe I can list them out. So they are your array, strings, stacks, lists, queues, and hash maps, and to an extent your sorted maps, or you can say maps in general. So these data structures are extremely important. So I don't put that much importance on angles, but data structures are extremely important, and the ones that I mentioned, you should be thorough with them, because what you'll realize is in competitive programming, you are forced to think out of the box and try to solve a question, which, let's say, a question can be solved in O(n) square, complexity or space. Then you are forced to think in such a manner that you can turn it around completely, solve that thing in O(n) or maybe log(n) or something like that. And the entire crux or the entire logic behind that thing is that you know some other data structures, some other ways of manipulating your data or storing the data, pre-computing the data, such that you don't need to compute the same thing twice, and you can bring down the overall time and space complexity. And that happens only if you have a good understanding of your data structures. Sure, Ayushi. So guys, again, mentioning the data structures that are important, they are arrays, strings, stacks, queues, linked list, hash map, and your sorted maps. So these are the very important data structures before getting into competitive programming or even programming in general. Even if you're preparing for your interviews, it's very important to have these basic data structures very well understood. You should be very thorough with them. I mean, if you need to use any of these data structures, you should not have to think twice before wondering how this certain thing works, how I can bring it, how I can use it from the STL, how to implement it, and what the functions are. That is very important. And so I think one thing that I might have missed there is vectors. So I don't really count vector as a data structure because it's somewhat of an extension of an array only. But I think vectors should also be there. You can count vectors in there because any question that you solve, you will find yourself going back to vectors along uh, a lot of the time. So I think vectors should also be there. So having said that, after you're done with these basic data structures, now you have your tools. Now you need to use them, practice them so that you understand them well, and you need to have certain basic understanding of algos as well. So for that, I recommend that you either go for a course. I recommend courses from Coding Blocks. It's a great platform. I learned from there, and they have a great variety of options now. You can pick your courses, be it online, offline. They have great discounts. You can share it with your friends and everything. It brings down the cost a lot. If not the courses, then maybe you can go to YouTube or some other tutorials where they have free offerings. They won't be necessarily as good as paid courses, as you know, but I think they do the job well. So after doing the basic, you need to solve at least 100, 200 questions so that you know your data structures like the back of your hand. So it should be that way. You need to practice so much, at least 100, 200 questions. So I think 100 should not even be there. It's a 200 question barrier. So you need to solve 200 questions at least so that you know your data structure well, understanding of your algos. So after you're done with this, so how to get to those 200 questions? If you're taking a paid course, you will obviously have an array of questions provided by the provider, basically maybe Coding Blocks in this case. Otherwise, if it's a free tutorial, then I think they do recommend some questions to do along the way. You can go back to your Geeks for Geeks and solve questions from those topics. I think that helps. So after you're done with that 200 question level set, after that is wherein a mixed approach starts. At this point, you have a good understanding of your data structure and your algorithm, but your mind is trained to function in a certain way. You are trained to think about data structures and algorithms in a certain way. Now that you have the tools, you should be able to bend the data structure and algorithm in such a way that you can apply it to other problems. Be it any random problem that is assigned to you, you should be able to think about, okay, this is the problem statement, break it down into its segments. This is the time complexity, this is the space complexity, which data structure can I fit here? So that's where this point comes in. After basic practice is done, here you need to do practice with data with your DSA as well as your competitive programming. So how this works is, earlier we had some very good platforms like HackerRank. They had some competitive programming competitions that happened on a monthly basis. But now the platform is not so good, I think. Now the only platform available, in my opinion, for that is your CodeChef. So what I recommend is go to CodeChef, try to solve questions in the long challenge. So the long challenge is a really great format. You get 10 days to solve 7 questions. You have ample time to think, like you have an entire day to think about a question before the next one comes in. And in that period of time, you think about solving the question in 100 different ways. You go to different resources. You think about think about similarities in terms of questions that you've solved. So you do a lot of research and then you come back to the question and then try to solve it. So in that, first you are preparing yourself for competitive programming. You are trying to think differently, as well as you are preparing yourself by going through a lot of resources available online. Your knowledge is also increasing. While you're doing this, you also get some good rank or rating or something, then you can put it on your resume. So it's a win-win situation. So I think start with Code Chef. Try to solve the long challenge format. Don't go for short ones. They can be very discouraging because the level of questions there and the time that you have to solve those questions is, I think, not proportionate. So I'll always recommend long challenges. And when you're doing long challenges, you will find that you will be able to solve some questions, some you can't solve, not an issue. Don't worry about your ranks either. Initially, ranks tend to be very flaky. They will move up or down very rapidly because you will find yourself in the lower end of, I think, competition. Your competition will be among few hundred people, among a few thousand people actually, who have like a score of 100 or something. And even if someone gets 10 points or something, you will go high or you will fall down very quickly. So don't worry about that. Initially, it happens, not an issue, but just stick to the platform. And after you hit a rating of 4-star, you will find yourself after one or two competitions, you are acquainted to the platform. You're now happy with how things are going. You understand them, and within, I think, after 2, you'll be comfortable. After 4 or 5, you might be able to hit a rating of 4-star. That is the point where you leave Code Chef. So if you're in your second year, then I think you can still use Code Chef and try to hit a rating of 5 or 6-star. 5-star is very good. 6-star takes a lot of time, I think, but I think 5-star is like a good rating. It shows that you are serious towards competitive programming. You have what it takes. So, if possible, try to hit 5-star. If not, 4-star is good enough. Then you need to move to code forces, because now that we are done working in the shallow end of the pool, now we need to get into the deep end and try to work it out there. So, code forces is like the big leagues. You will be competing with a lot of people from around the globe who even people from basically Russia, Ukraine, and all those countries. So if you know about the history of these countries, they have they promote coding at a very young age. So like we are doing maths at age 5 and plus, so they have been doing coding since then. So your competition is those people who have been coding since such early ages, who are very, very sharp. And other countries like Ukraine and some countries which were earlier part of the USSR. So your competition is that, even Chinese and others, other ethnicities, I think, very smart people out there. So that is when you compete on a global forum with a lot of people. And even the format goes down from 10 days, 1 day solving a question to 3 hours, 2 hours solving 6 questions, 15-20 minutes per question. And each time you solve a question incorrectly, your points go down by 50. And each minute that passes by before you solve a question, the weightage or the points assigned after you solve a question correctly goes down by 2. So you are penalized every time you solve it incorrectly or every minute you let pass by. So it's highly competitive. And that's when things start to get interesting. And you will find that initially you are struggling in code forces. A lot of people have. It's a very scary platform when you start. I hit 5-star rating on code forces on Code Chef. After that, I thought, okay, I'm in a good enough place to move to code forces. That was not the case. When I shifted to code forces, you start with a rating of 1500. Within the first competition or two, my rating fell down to 1400 something, and it was not rising at all. So I was completely baffled as to what has happened. A person who was a 5-star coder on Code Chef has now just 1400 rating, and he's not able to solve like 1 or 2 questions in a frame of 2 hours. But that happens. Initially, your mindset is not developed that way to solve questions so quickly and without any faults or anything. After like 5 or 6 questions, I think I was accustomed to the platform. I even did a few practice problems, few practice contests, which were earlier held on the platform. And that's when I got comfortable with the platform and I was able to solve questions in a quick manner. So after that, I put in a dedicated 4 months to the platform, and my rating went from 1400 to 1932, which was recently. And I think that's one of the reasons I think I'm here and sharing my knowledge with you guys and many others. So all it takes is dedication and some hard work there. And I think you can also achieve good ratings of 1900 or something. Maybe better. I only had 4 months for the platform because I had to shift to my job. I was in my 4th year when I started Code Forces. A little late, I know, but that's when I had the time to move on to code courses. But you guys have the time. If you can, then try to practice as much as you can. Try to hit higher ratings, 2000, 2100. The reason is that if you're doing so well on these platforms, one thing is you can put it on your resume. Recruiters know about these platforms, CodeChef and CodeForces. When they're hiring on LinkedIn or even off campus, when you send out your resumes, they do look at your rating. If you have added the ratings, it's a very good barometer for them to judge if the candidate is strong. So it helps that way definitely. Second is you are obviously prepared for your interviews in a very better manner. So that is the advantage and how you should use competitive programming platforms. One thing that I want to emphasize is a lot of people, they do competitive programming but they don't do it properly. So what do I mean by that? When you are doing competitive programming, the objective is not just to apply what you have learned. The objective is to learn as well. So after you're done with the competition, what many people tend to do, let's say they were able to solve 3 questions. After that, they are done, they are happy, okay, I got a good rating, I can let it go. But that is not how you approach competitive programming. After you're done with the contest, you see that the solutions are provided, the tutorials or something, both on CodeForces and CodeChef. The tutorials are provided later on, maybe a few hours or a day or two. So that's when you need to go back to the tutorials, and this is what makes a difference between people who succeed and people who probably don't on these platforms. The ones who go back first, see all the 3 problems, the tutorial of all the 3 problems that they were able to solve, to understand, okay, maybe there was a better way of solving this question that I could have used, solving from ON to O1, login or something like that. So that is also something that you need to learn. If you can, then it's great. There's another approach in your kitty to apply to a problem later on in life. So this is how solving questions is just not enough. You need to see the solution provided by the tutorial as well. Because if you know the solution, the same is provided by the tutorial, good enough, you can leave it, go ahead. If not, it will probably take just 10 minutes or something to understand something new. Because there will be some basic optimization that you could have thought of, and that's what they did. So that way you can learn a lot. This will help you next time. The other thing is the question that you were not able to solve. So if you are not able to solve, let's say the 4th question, every time you leave at 3 questions, don't practice the 4th one and let it be. How will you be able to solve the 4th question ever? Maybe sometimes you hit a fluke, it was a fluke, you solved the 4th one, but that's not growth. You're not growing that way. All you are doing is testing your abilities again and again. That's not how learning works. So what you need to do is, in the tutorial, go to the 4th question, try to see what you missed. What was the logical point where your solution and the actual solution differ? What was the bridge there? Now that you have found out the bridge, what you need to do is simply so now just bridge the gap, and all you need to do is go to your platforms like Google, and even some CodeForces have some good blogs. You will have to see what are those logics, or what is the particular DSA that I was missing, that if I knew about, I could have solved this question. After knowing that, try to first solve that question yourself. Then find 3 to 4 similar questions, try to solve them as well. And after you're done solving like 4 to 5 questions, you realize that you have learned a new skill, a new DSA, something like that, a new way of approaching problems. And the next time, so a few times you will see, okay, you're still not able to solve the 4th question, but 4 or 5 times later, you will see that, okay, you have made some drastic changes, drastic improvements, you will be able to solve questions now. So that's how cognitive programming works. That's how learning works. So this is my only advice to you guys. If you are into competitive programming, definitely try to go back to the tutorial, solve the question again. This concept is called upsolving, and you should emphasize on it a lot. This is what makes a difference between hitting good ratings and staying wherever you are. So, guys, this was my journey into in competitive programming, and my advice to all you guys. So, I think we hit the 20-minute brief as well. Now, I'll let you guys ask any questions if you have. Otherwise, we have a few that Nishta and the team collected on Google Forms. So, I think we can start with that. Guys, I think we pick one question in an alternating fashion. If you guys have a question, you can start.
Yeah, if anybody has any questions for Arnav, you can just leave it on the chat box. Otherwise, we will continue with the already reserved questions that we have got from the Google Forms, I guess. So you can start. Okay, we have one. Algorithms.
Okay, cool. So, Ankita, I understand your concern regarding DP and greedy algorithms. The thing is, when you're practicing the DSC and you solve that 200 level questions, 200 questions when you're beginning, you'll realize that each question you will apply some data structure, but a data structure coupled with an algorithm is what leads to solution to a problem. So when you're practicing the DS questions, you'll come across algorithms as well. You will have to apply DP, greedy, or something like that along with along with your data structure. So that's how things will go. And while you're solving those 200 questions, while you're practicing your data structures, you'll come across algorithms as well. So later on, when you move on to competitive coding, even if you feel like a particular segment of algorithms is weak, you can go to Geeks for Geeks and solve the questions there. There are a lot of great question sets available that you can practice to get a good hold of these algorithms if you want.
And Anika, that answers your question. Now we can take one from the result one. So there is one, Arnav, how to get motivated while doing competitive programming. Bit upon
Yeah.
that before, but maybe you can just give us more insight. I mean, we all are like very frustrated sometimes.
Yeah, I totally get that, guys. So I was also beginner once. I had no knowledge about these platforms, how to get onto them. I didn't even have a mentor, so it was all just, ad hoc approach to the problems. So, guys, motivation is something that you need to find in yourself somehow because these platforms can be scary. They do, tend to take a lot of time and effort on your end. So what motivated me was first I've always been very competitive, so I think that comes naturally to me to be on the top, to be among the top few people, being in the top bracket. So that was what helped me. But the thing that motivates a lot of people about competitive is the opportunities that you get. I have seen people from tier 3 colleges who did not even have a good GPA get jobs in Google, Facebook, Amazon, that too abroad in countries like London, UK, and Singapore, just because they had a good competitive programming profile. So you can circumvent everything that has happened in the last 20 years of your life. Just put 3 years into competitive programming with a lot of dedication. Try to maintain a GPA of 7. That's a minimum, but that will so that way you can forego everything that happened earlier in your life. Just 3 years into competitive programming, it will do wonders for you. So that's, I think, a very good motivation to have.
Yeah, we all agree to that. And the other question, which I find very interesting, is someone wants to know how to get the most efficient use of competitive programming for placements, not for the actual sport.
All right. So, guys, for placements, I think I'll just build upon the few points that I touched in my intro. So, the thing is, when you're doing competitive programming, the thing that might help with the recruiters is first the rating that you have on. So, I'll talk about myself. Recently, I had a good rating on Code Forces Code Chef, and I put that out on my LinkedIn profile headline. So because of that, after putting that out, I have received like eight offers from recruiters on LinkedIn. That's not something that happens very often to people. Just because I had these good ratings on my platform, on my profile, I got many recruiter responses, and still I get like a message from a recruiter once every week for a very different opportunity, maybe abroad as well. I have had received opportunities abroad as well. So this is how competitive programming helps. The other thing is, other than Code Forces and Code Chef, there is also Google Kickstart, Google Code Jam, and Hashcode and things like that. You have your Facebook Hacker Cup and other things like that as well. So these platforms are actually great because if you perform well in the platforms consistently, Google and Facebook have been known to offer a direct interview chance to such candidates. So that is the second way that not a lot of people know about, but it does help with the recruiters or your interviews with the companies. So I think that's the second way it can help. So reiterating, first put it out on your resume, on your LinkedIn, and second is you can try for job opportunities with these companies if you get a good rank in their particular competitions.
Thank you, Aarnav, for those insights. Another question comes from Sanjeev, and he asked which website better for CP. I guess he's just stressing upon for beginners or for intermediate level. And although you touched on that during your talk, could you just recap it, recollect it?
Yeah, sure. So guys, again, the good platforms are when you're starting out, go to Code Chef, try to hit a rating of 4 star, 5 star, and after that move on to Code Forces, and there practice as hard as you can, as much as you can. Try to get very good get very good ratings, and if possible, try to give ICPC as well. A lot of companies, a lot of recruiters recognize ICPC very well to regional level. I mean, if you participate regionally, also they recognize it as a good achievement or something. So that helps. So I think you can try these three things.
Yeah, that makes sense. So another question comes from Jyotika. So this is, I guess, one of the popular ones. How to manage development and coding side by side. So it's like these are two different tracks, and both of them demands, the time and energy. And so it's like if you're focused in one, then you lose the grip of the other. So how do you manage that?
So guys, talking about myself, I'm a bit of a workaholic. So even my friends and a lot of other members call me a freak that way. I don't keep time to myself. I mean, people have their free time activities and leisures. When I'm free, I work on something. I try to make a difference somewhere that might help someone. So even talking recently, I was free and I thought that I faced some problems in my college years when I missed out on opportunities from Google and Amazon, internship opportunities in Germany, USA, UK. So right now I've started a website wherein I'm putting these updates regularly, where data is sourced from career websites using ML, using scraping actually. So I think maybe I can share the link also
Yeah,
here.
you can share it over the chat.
Check it out. We will update this regularly, and you can find even right now all the Google, Facebook, Amazon, and Microsoft opportunities are already on there. You can check it out. We'll update it regularly. We have some scraping algorithms in the backend that will do the scraping regularly and try to give you updates as soon as possible so that you don't face the problems that I have. Now, getting back to the topic, guys, although I did development as well as competitive programming, it mostly is because I did not have a mentor. I did not know where to go, which direction I should take. That's why I started with the competitive programming. I got bored, or in the middle, I thought I was done. I've achieved what I wanted. Then I moved on to development, spent 2 years there, then came back to competitive programming. Had I been there all these 3 years, I would have done much, much better. I think I would have been sitting in some Google headquarters or Facebook headquarters because of my skills. Maybe later, but for now, the only thing that matters is your competitive programming skills, because everything that you need in a company, be it web development, app development, or or some IoT, ML, blockchain, anything. So the company will provide you resources to understand and implement all these technologies in their preferred platform, their preferred stack, and their preferred language. So you don't need to spend or waste your time on it at all. If you do dev for fun, totally up to you. But the only importance of dev right now in your college should be to make like 1 or 2 basic projects to put on your resume to fill some space. Other than that, put all your effort into programming and on your GPA as well. I think recruiters do consider GPA for college grads. So completely focus on GPA and your CP or programming skills. Don't waste time on development. Nishta, you are on mute.
Sorry. Yeah, so the next question I was just, oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, so the next question comes, did you do projects as well for placement or focused only upon CP?
So guys, as I said, I did not have a mentor. I focused on both, but I should never have. I should have only focused on competitive programming because I've seen people get jobs from Google, Amazon in London, and some in US, Singapore, as well as Germany. That's all because of competitive programming. So while I did do projects as well, but again, don't focus on that.
Okay, so thank you. The next question comes, is it possible to be an expert in code forces within 6 months?
An expert, I think that's very, very easy. You start out at a rating of 1500 and some expert rating is 1600 to 1900. So
Yeah.
within 4 months, I was able to hit from 1500 to a low point of 1450 to 1932. So expert, I think anyone can become in like a month. That's not an issue at all. Maybe a month or two if you have some time.
All right. So I guess this was much, insightful, and we had all the queries answered. Guys, if you have any questions, you can reach out to Aarnav on LinkedIn. He's on LinkedIn, and you can share your LinkedIn link over here, Aarnav, as well. And yeah, so I guess Aarnav, thank you for joining us. It is so exciting to have you and get all these better insights. And we hope to have you again soon as well, maybe in the future. Thank you so much, Aarnav, for taking out your time on a weekend. We understand that it's just very much. Thank you, Aarnav.
Thank you guys. Thank you. Bye bye.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for behaving. And now we will move on to the exciting part of our session. Well, remember, we were just bragging a lot about this new domain that we are introducing to our, club. Well, let me just share my screen, and this is going to take just few minutes. Hang with me, and I promise it's going to be fun. All right. Let's just select you from there. Okay, guys. So before we move on to anything, I want you to look at this picture, and I want you to guess that what do you think this is? I mean, any guesses? Well, you know what? The first time I saw this picture, I thought that it's a chandelier or very fancy drill machine probably. Well, it turns out it's neither of them. It's a quantum computer. Nishtha, we are not done studying classical computer. Why are you introducing quantum computer? Well, just hang with me for a while. Now, which brings us to the domain that we are introducing to DSC, quantum computing. For the first time in any DSC here in India, quantum computing, we will be including quantum computing in our webinars, we will be including quantum computing in our mentorship program. So, I mean, I'm talking a lot about this quantum computing. Let's just try to understand what this is, okay? And before we start that, bit about me. My name is Nishtha Singh. I am your DSC lead for the session 2020-21. I'm a sophomore pursuing computer science and engineering. I consider myself a polymath, so I have like varied range of interest from quantum computing. Yes, I do quantum computing, and then an integration of environmental science and technology. I have represented India in San Francisco, US as a finalist in one of the prestigious competition. I have also worked with US government and CEO of Global Footprint Network, Laurel Hanscom. You can see her here. She's the most loveliest person you'll ever meet. And coming to my credentials of quantum computing, I have qualified for the first ever QSKID Global Summer Challenge. So I was a scholar, and it was hosted by IBM Quantum. Now, before moving on to the actual field, let us just understand, I mean, what does quantum mean, right? I mean, I know you all must have heard the word quantum once in your lifetime, each one of you. I can understand that. Now, let me break it into two parts. So, I know that this is going to be a bit boring, but just hang in there. Okay, so talking about quantum mechanics. So what we study in quantum mechanics is the behavior of objects at small scale, right? So we can take a behavior of atom as an example. So this behavior that we're talking about is very weird, is very incompatible with our world, with the things that we can see, that the So this is very weird, and we are going to talk a lot about this weird behavior. Now we should come to quantum computing. So quantum computing uses this quantum phenomena. Now remember the weirdness of behavior that we talked about. That weird behavior, we uses that weird behavior to boost our computational power to do computation. So what I'm saying, I know this is a lot to hang, just hang in there. So what I'm saying, quantum computing uses the laws of physics to boost computational power and make quantum computers, right? So just like we have coding and classical computer, we call the laptops and computers we use today classical computers. So we have quantum computers. We do not have a full-fledged quantum computer yet, and you cannot expect to have a quantum computer on your desk for at least 2 decades. But you can use one through cloud. So quantum computing is an application of quantum mechanics. And moving on, why go quantum? I mean, you are asking, Nishtha, I use my laptop, I use my computer, it works perfectly fine. I don't need quantum computer. Well, let's just let's just dive right into it. So why are we going quantum? Well, some problems are just too hard for a classical computer to solve. Like computers that we use today, there are problems that our computers cannot solve. Let me take 2 examples. Chemistry simulation. I'm sure you might be like, why are we studying chemistry now? We were studying physics just now. And okay, just hang it there. So talking about chemistry simulation, if we look at molecular level, the chemical reactions are governed by quantum mechanics. Okay, so these chemical reactions are very hard for our computer to simulate or replicate. It is very hard for it. But so the first application of a quantum computer is to make chemistry simulation. Now you must be wondering, why do we care about it? Why do we want chemistry simulation, right? It's scientist stuff. Well, why we care is because, I mean, I'm sure everyone is waiting for a coronavirus vaccine. I mean, I am waiting for it. So yeah. So I mean, if we had a quantum computer today, we would have been able to get it. Like, I guess we would have had it. So why is that? So when we create a new vaccine or a new medicine, what we need to study in depth before is the chemistry simulation, the molecules of that vaccine. And classical computers are very bad at it, very bad. So quantum computers turns out are very efficient. They can do it in few seconds, few minutes probably, and we can engineer, more effective and less costly treatment. And so this is what I'm saying. Now coming to factoring. Now you remember finding out prime factors of numbers, like those prime factors. Oh, these are the prime factors. Taking LCM and HCF and finding out those prime factors. So factoring is also one of the prominent application of a quantum computer. So our classical take sometimes 100 years to factor a number. Can you imagine that? Just finding out a prime factor of a number more than our life. Here the number which I'm talking about is 128 digit number. I mean, not a 2-digit number. So you can understand it is very hard for a computer to do that. But then you must be wondering, why do we need a prime factor of 128 digit number? Well, the RSA encryption is like a security thing that your computer uses, that internet uses to protect your information, to protect your data, to create the space for cybersecurity, right? So this RSA encryption is based on factoring. What it does is it assign you a key, and that you have to find prime factors of that key to attack a computer, to hack the information. But with a classical computer, it is very hard. You cannot do that. It is impossible. So that is why it is very hard to hack a computer, guys. But with a quantum computer, you can do it in like few seconds. I mean, isn't that amazing? The classical computer takes 100 years to factor that number. Meanwhile, quantum computer takes 3 seconds. So another thing that I want to focus on is limitation of classical computers. As we are working on, right, we are so as we can see these transistors are getting smaller. Now we are at a point where we cannot, make more small transistors. We cannot do that, but we need more computational power. We need it, but we don't have it. because our transistors have already reached the size of an atom. What are we going to do now? So in this, again, quantum computer comes into play. That is also why we need a quantum computer, because the era of classical computing is ending. This is a bit of quantum history, some of the main stages in quantum. So Richard Feynman, I'm sure everybody must have heard about him. He proposes the framework for a quantum system. Peter Shor was the first human to create the quantum algorithm, like classical algorithm, the algorithms we study. So there was first quantum algorithm to factor numbers, which was created by Peter. And then there was demonstration, cloud-based quantum computing. I told you, right? So we don't have quantum computer at our homes right now, but we can use one. We can go over to the site IBM, Google. They are researching so much in quantum computing that you cannot even believe what's happening there. So they have put out their quantum computer on cloud. So you can use that quantum computer through the comfort of your home. Now comes quantum supremacy. So quantum supremacy, I last year remember Google announced quantum supremacy. This is the headline. Oh my God, Google did that. So what was this? There was this problem of factoring a number, and a quantum computer did it in like maximum 15 seconds or around. While that problem, classical computer took the fastest computer in the world that we have right now, supercomputer. It cannot solve in that efficient time. So that's what quantum supremacy is. Now, current state, I mean, on the left, you can see this ENIAC. It is the first digital computer, and its power is literally, so its computational power is smaller than my watch. So, and here we have 54 qubit superconducting quantum computer. This is a quantum computer, guys. And this quantum computer is the one who solved that problem in 3 seconds. Imagine this is an early stage quantum computer. We do not have enough development. We do not have enough research in this field right now. And still we are doing so well. If I put myself in the shoes of scientists in 1950s, I could have never imagined that this is what we're going to having right now. I could, put myself on screen and you could see myself and you could see me, and this communication computer include daily to daily life right now. Same goes for quantum computers. Quantum computers are in early stage right now. We could be the generation to revolutionize. We could be the founding fathers of this field. And this is very exciting. This is very exciting because it's going to take 100 years at least to, develop this field. Now, applications of quantum, we have chemistry, machine learning, finance, cryptography, medicine, agriculture, biology, fundamental physics. Everywhere you go, everyone is going quantum these days. So there are many more examples, and can't even imagine right now. We cannot even predict what it can do in the future. So that is why we need more people to research on it. We need more people to join this revolution of going quantum. So this was all about quantum computers and quantum computing. I know that this was just a bit of an introduction, and I hope that I was able to give you an insight of what is a quantum computer. And next time, if anybody asks you, you can answer it, right? You understand the importance of quantum computer and stuff. So now I guess we have reached a point where we have to end our session. So before ending our session, I promise that I will talk a bit about our mentorship program. So this coming January, what we're starting is we are starting this mentorship program where we will select 2 students for one domain, like AI ML for 2 students, cybersecurity 2 students. We will take those students and we will connect them with an industry professional. Right? We understand, I mean, Aarnav also talked about the experience of mentorship. Why is it so important to have a mentor? So we're going to introduce that mentorship program, and we would love for you to apply when it will open. We are currently working in the logistics, and the idea is still new. So we're trying to get the best for you. So I guess with this, it's a wrap up. And if you have any questions, you can, okay, somebody asked how it's applied in machine learning. Well, Mohammed, it's a very complex field. So in machine learning, what is the application criteria? We will be releasing all this information soon. So if you want to be in group, you can just email us. You can be a part of our community. I will launch the application process later in January. So you don't have to worry about it. Give your exams, guys. Just focus on that. And we will talk about it a bit later. Okay, thank you guys. So if there is anything, then you can connect us over Gmail. Thank you so much for joining, and we hope to bring content. We hope to bring such professionals into our college, into our university, and thank you so much for being so supportive. Again, one thing that I want to mention is recruitment is still open. If you feel like you have, you are qualified for one field to apply for, community is always open to apply. Volunteering is always open. You can hit our Gmail. You can write a mail that Nishta, I want to apply for core team member. Nishta, I want to be a volunteer. Nishta, I want to be a part of a community, and we will try to adjust you as much as we can. And thank you so much. Yeah, that's it for me. Bye. Austria, well, in what context? I didn't understand. Yeah. So that's why, so guys, that's why I said that quantum computers are on cloud right now. You don't have to pay anything to experiment on quantum computers. You don't have to pay a penny to run quantum algorithm. This is the kind of research that IBM, Google, and so many more companies and governments are investing in. They are investing billions and billions of dollars. There are scholarships, and it's definitely a field that is developing, and there are people new to it. So I guess you could what you can do is you can learn. If you want to learn more about it, you can be a part of our community. We will definitely keep you in sync. In mentorship program, I will be teaching quantum computing. So that is going to happen. And so if you want to be, there will be a lot of opportunities for you in the coming weeks. It was just an introduction. Don't worry if you feel like you are stuck, if you feel like you didn't understand anything, that's completely fine. And again, coming to the question, yes, it is costlier. It's very costlier, definitely. That's why we are using it in cloud, right? So yeah, even though it's costlier, but we don't have any problem in running algorithm or doing experiment. I hope that answers your question, Anika.